Well, for I guess yeah, like for people like me, I know a little bit about you, but for people like Dylan and other people viewing, I guess just give me like a little bit of background on yourself.
Word. So I'm 24 years old. My name is Quentin Gatto. I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Come from a small town called Knxwn, Pennsylvania. It's pretty ratchet, kind of. It's just it's where I'm from. I love that place. I wouldn't want to change it for anything where I grew up. So yeah, a little bit about me. I grew up as a nerd. I was in marching band, jazz band, concert band, like choir, anything musically. I was trying to be involved as a kid. So I always knew that I was going to do something in music. I never knew exactly what it was going to be until maybe 2 years ago, but but you got to figure it out sometime. But
For sure.
Went through high school and everything, just playing hockey, playing in the marching band, playing in all these bands, just absorbing all the music knowledge I could. And really just I was kind of a bad kid as a senior. I was doing a bunch of things I shouldn't have. I was smoking a lot, which isn't a bad thing, but I was doing other things on top of that, which wasn't very admirable, and it took me off track. And I had a scholarship to go to California University of Pennsylvania for their music technology and engineering program.
Okay.
I just knew that if I went to college, I wasn't going to go to classes. I was just going to party and just enjoy life. And so my parents kind of let me chill until like December after graduation. And then they were like, you really got to like figure out what the fuck you're going to do. Mm-hmm. So I was just exploring.
What year did you graduate, Q?
I graduated in 2014.
Word. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like 2015, approaching 2015 now. My parents are like, so what are you going to do, kid? You can't just stay at your parents' house for the rest of your life. You're either going to have to join a union or, do something. Those blue collar people. You know what I mean? Like my parents were like,
keep.
Yeah, my parents were like, you better work for UPS and join the Teamster union or something, be a driver.
Right.
And I just told them that I really wanted to do something in music. So I started exploring like online options because, of course, like cyber school is booming, of course. And that's like the new way to kind of be secluded, but still educate yourself. Mm-hmm. And so I came across this school called Recording Knxwn. They're actually based in LA.
Okay.
And what they do is you get an online textbook, you have a bunch of classes, and it's all about engineering. But what's different from them is they set you up in an actual studio, so you can actually learn. Like you'll wire the soundboards, you'll wire all the mics, the different mics for live recording, and like if you need to record a drum set or a live piano or even like an orchestra, I learned how to wire all the mics for that shit. And it's like so yeah, shout out to Recording Knxwn for that. They're actually a really dope program. And right towards the end of my 3-year program from when I started at like 18 years old, it was 20, we were approaching 2016, January of 2016. And the girl that I was with for a year and a half at the time, she's an artist, and she of course wanted to pursue her dreams in music. So me going through school as an engineer and her being an artist and having this incredible voice, it just made sense to move out to LA. So we kind of made the move because my schooling's out here too. So they were super for it. They were like, we'll put you in the record plant. We'll put you this place, like the biggest studios in LA. Mm-hmm. They were trying to put me in there. And so I moved to LA with her. And I actually got a job at the record plant for like a week, and I was a runner. And I hated my life the very first day. And so I got in a few conversations with some people that have been at that studio for a while, and They told me that they've been there for like a year and a half, 2 years, and they still are a runner. And I was like, I can't just waste my life going and get food,
I need
DoorDash orders for
advancement.
people. Yeah, like I need to grow.
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
soon learned that the engineering game is a really tedious one where you really have to like hit it off with an artist
Mm-hmm.
to like even become a real successful engineer. You can work for these studios and everything all you want, but you're going to make a salary that
Yep.
is not going to help you grow and
Exactly.
level up in life. So it's like I seen that threshold really quick with an engineer, and I went back to my school at Recording Connections. I was like, what business programs do you have? Like anything. Like I need music business, general business, whatever. I need to do something else besides this engineering.
Mm-hmm.
So I took the general business course that Recording Connections offers. It was like a year and some change. You can do everything by your own pace. So you could take like 4 years if you wanted. You
Right.
could take 5 years. But yeah, I did it as quick as I could, got my little certification. They sent me in the mail. It said that I completed the most general business course and everything. And what was cool about that was, yeah, what was cool about that was I was able to be a fly on the wall for my girl's process. Her name is Jared Burns. And while I was figuring out my business stuff and if I even wanted to be an engineer, she got signed to Interscope Records.
Okay.
So
That's dope.
I was able to kind of be a fly on the wall and listen in on all the lawyer calls, all the contract talks, all the terminology and everything. I was just soaking it in. I kind of got infatuated with it. It
Not to
was like a
interrupt you,
drug.
but back then when that was all going on, were you just kind of there, or were you still? I mean, I know you're managing her now. Were you like in a sense helping manage her at that time, or were you really kind of just there and just happened to be at the right place at the right time to like gain all this knowledge?
Yeah, I was really just there, honestly. It was kind of just like a fly on the wall type of thing. I was nothing more than Jared Burns' boyfriend at the time. You know,
Support for
everybody
her.
was like,
Support.
yeah, everybody was like, who's this guy? And they would just be like, it's Jared's boyfriend. And then that was it. And of course that burned a hole in my ass for a while because I knew that I wasn't just Jared's boyfriend. But, you just got to take that energy and put it somewhere else. You
For
can't
sure.
let it fester and tear you down and shit
Mhm.
like that because that's very easy to do. That's the easy route to just get pissed off and be like, well, fuck you. But, yeah, I kind of just built off that. I was like, people aren't going to call me just Jared's boyfriend forever. So,
I'm gonna get a name for myself eventually.
yeah, exactly.
While you were in
And
those meetings, did you start to think that maybe management is more where you wanted to go, or like
yeah,
really, I guess,
I was,
what made you decide to kind of go all in on one aspect of this music industry?
it was really the addiction that I had of just like wanting to eavesdrop on those conversations and gain the terminology and like really understand what the hell they were saying. Cause at the time I was hearing it and they were speaking a foreign language. So I was like, whoa. And then once I started to understand slowly, I was like, oh, this is intense. So I started to kind of get addicted to learning more and more of the terminology, how things work, how different companies structure their contracts and everything. It's a
So
wild
really
game, and it's
wanted to learn the business aspect rather than even more the artistic or creative aspect,
yeah.
Yep.
or both really. But
I learned real quick that the creative side. Of course, I'm creative. I can do this. I can do that. But I was way more just key locked on to being a business guy and really learning all that terminology and helping other people's visions. Because that's one of the things about management and everything like that is you really have to understand whoever you're working for. You have to understand their vision first,
Mhm.
and then
facts.
you have to help their vision become their reality because
Mhm.
it's not your reality, it's their reality.
Their
So
reality.
it's like
Yep.
you're helping them, you're working for them. And and I've always been a people person. I've always been someone that can like understand anybody's situation and understand where their mindset is. So it just all kind of congealed together. I was like, wow, like all the life skills that I gained with just understanding people and learning people, and then all this business knowledge on top, like I could be a powerhouse manager if I put my brain to this shit. So I was like, I have to do it. It's like a no-brainer.
So what was that first step that you were like, all right, now I'm gonna start applying this knowledge and start managing?
The first step was honestly, I soon after I found out that I wanted to pursue something in business, I went to some of my mentors and everything at the time who were big executives, presidents at labels and everything, and I begged them for a job. I was like, yeah, I'll scrub toilets if it means that I'm a junior A&R. Like,
Yep.
just let me spread my wings and see how I can glide here. And they all told me no. So I had that was kind of the pure motivation right there. It was hearing no,
Mm-hmm.
that they were telling me I couldn't do it. And that's what made me want to do it even more. And that's what really pushed me to
Mm-hmm.
kind of make that leap, is just other people telling me no and doubting me is kind of the motivation that I turned to really fuel my fire to kind of just do everything that I'm doing now.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. I think that's like that's always like, I feel like for the people who eventually hit some type of level of success, there's something always like the stories between those people. There's always that kind of that connector where it's like someone tells them that they can't do the shit, and then they end up doing it. Right? They use that as motivation.
I think sometimes for some people, even it's like, it's not even a matter of, I mean, I think hearing the no is like the damn, like other, but then it's more or less like, you know what, I'm not even necessarily doing this to prove all of y'all wrong. I'm doing this to like prove myself right, to be like, look, I said I was about this, and like, I am about this. Like, you know, I am that guy. Like I set a goal and I went out and achieved it. So sometimes I feel like sometimes people think they're like really proving other people wrong, but I think at the end of the day, they're really like trying to prove themselves right. And I think with that like type of perspective, it really changes it. And it makes you be like, no, like I'm gonna figure out a way to make this dream or whatever it is that I'm achieving happen.
Exactly.
So I know like Jara, I guess I'm assuming Jara was your first talent. Was she the first person that you represented?
Yeah. So as soon as things started going a little downhill for her and her management at the time, I kind of just stepped in with the knowledge that I had and the resources that I had, and got her contract that she was in with the management company, and kind of just took it from there. You know what I mean? Just started knocking down the block so she could have freedom, because at the time she signed a contract that was not so favorable for herself. So it was just it's still a ongoing process, because of course these contracts are legal commitments and it takes time to make everybody happy in those parties. But yeah, we're getting through it, and she's
I was gonna say, shout out JB, she got music on the way.
She's got music on the way. And it is fire.
One thing I think a lot of people would be interested in, obviously with all the, you know, newfound hype around Arizona, really, can you kind of tell us a little bit about how you got involved in managing him, and where it's like, well, obviously we know where it's led to, but kind of, you know, walk us through that route to present day.
Yeah, so basically, turning back a little bit to where I was before, whenever those people were telling me no, it was actually, this is real shit, it was actually that day that I got told no by a president of a record label, that I went home, got pissed off, kind of broke a couple things, and then went straight to SoundCloud and straight to these like independent playlists that I just knew were kind of like the new wave. It was like, I mean, everybody knows, like, shout out Rap Nation and everything to the SoundCloud playlist. They really put on for the artists that aren't getting the attention they should. And I came onto that playlist, and Arizona had like fucking 5 songs on that bitch. I was like, yo, this kid is insane. Like, who is this guy? So I just went straight to Instagram, as you know, us social media moguls know how to do. And we type in the @ and slide right into the DMs. And the first time we actually met, it was a Black Bear album release at the Peppermint Club. He was involved with some people around Black Bear, and he knew some people there. So So he was kind of just like, yeah, I'm gonna be down this Black Bear thing. I was like, yo, me too. Like, we should definitely link up. Like, let's link up. And the whole Interscope team was there, like John Janik, all the CEOs. He didn't give a fuck. He was just like, I'm here to see my boys and Black Bear. And it was just super sick. Like, we got to meet, vibe a little bit, had a couple drinks. I don't really drink, so you know how one drink for QG can do me in.
Don't come
So
to New York, bro.
I was a little loose that day, and yeah, shit was just really cool vibe. We kind of just hit it off as a friendship first. And
I was gonna say, I always feel like when you get that first interaction in more of a social setting rather than a business setting, you get to really understand someone's personality and like who they are, like at the end of the day, rather than I'm so and so, very nice to meet you. Like, I feel like anytime it's in business, it's not that people put on fakes, but I feel like you just really get people's vibes and energy in a neutral setting as such.
Yeah.
So that's dope.
Yes, it was really just like, I was just, for a whole year, honestly, after that, I was really just building a relationship with him and understanding him as a person and trying to understand him, because he's very much a closed book, and he isn't the easiest to read,
as some of us know. Yeah.
But yeah, and he's just a really crazy dude. And he told me it came to the point where he felt comfortable enough to talk any type of business with me, and he was like, yo, if you really want to do something for me and like act as a manager, I need a producer. And I was like, got you. And at the time, shout out to Instagram, man, and these social media platforms, I was just nerding out over this kid out of Calhoun, Georgia, who is now in Orlando. And he was just this crazy skinny white boy that just made these hard beats, like the hardest beats ever.
Word.
And I was like, who the hell is this kid? So I followed him, and his name wasn't even 94 Skirt at the time. His name was Jace Logan. He was doing
Jennings Logan.
Jace Logan. And he was actually like doing a DJ type of thing at the time. So he was kind of going down the path of like Marshmello, DJ Snake, like people like that. And because I mean, shit, the life of a producer, you probably go through so much shit where like you're producing records for nobodies, that gets annoying. So then you're like, my beats are so hard, like I could do this myself. I'm a DJ, I'm an artist. Like, you probably go through so much shit, I can't imagine. And so yeah, I stayed in contact with him even before Arizona, and I was just nerding out, sending him messages, just trying to stay in contact as much as possible. And he was the first person that came to mind when Arizona was like, if you want to do something for me, I need a producer. And I was like, yo, I know this kid, 94 Skirt. He's a prodigy out here, and I feel like you guys would just mesh. So I flew 94 out to LA, and they got in. We had like a closet studio at this point at some random, he's not even like a huge producer. He's just some guy in LA who owned a studio. And he had this tiny production room in the back of his studio that was no bigger than like a 8x7. It was like a closet. And they Arizona and Skirt started I would like to say No Iron Team. I want to say that.
I'm pretty sure you're right. Every time I hear them talk about it, they're like, yo, yeah, the first thing we ever did was No Iron Team. I think you're right.
Yeah, because AZ had an acapella that he recorded on No Iron Team, and Skirt was like, yo, like, this is crazy. Let me build a beat around this. And you build a beat around it, and the rest was history for that song. You know, it was his largest streaming song until Roxanne popped off. And now FML is going crazy, 24 is going crazy, Roxanne's still going crazy.
I was gonna say, now it's really all she wrote for the both of them. Everything's taken off.
It's that tipping point, you know?
Yeah, that really
kept
was
filling up the water bucket, and then slowly but surely, boom, game over.
Yep. Yeah, that was really the tipping point, though. It's just they literally clicked on all cylinders, and the rest was history. I think a week after that, we actually took a trip to Atlanta, and he did FML and When I Die and did the Living Facts little 3-song project in Atlanta. We'll finish it in Atlanta. So those were like the first 3 songs they ever did together. So they released it as a project, and they just kept building off that. That actually was the first domino for Arizona, was that project. It was like he released that, and then all of a sudden, his fan base, his streams, and everything just started to pick up and continue to build to where it's literally just a freight train at this point. That's just on fire. You can't stop it.
Right. Damn. That's amazing. That's amazing.
It really is, to like, you know, understand where it came from. And then, I mean, shoot, someone like me who is like living with some of these guys to like really like see what it is now firsthand. It's kind of surreal to think about.
It's wild because it's like he always had his vision, and it took me like a whole year to even understand, because that's one thing that people don't understand is you can't just understand an individual's whole vision in like a week or a month or anything like that. It takes time. You have to invest
So you got to
time.
tap in, and especially like you said, for someone who somewhat for the most part is as closed off as AZ can be, I'm sure that was very difficult to completely be like, okay, I know what you're thinking and I know what you want out of this.
Yeah, and even now I'm still learning more and more about him, and I think the coolest thing about our whole situation is how much I've learned off of him, because like he's really, I mean, he's had his shit together. It's like his vision has always been so strong. Every release has been so strategic. Every marketing plan, he's just so locked in with him as an artist on all aspects that it didn't make it easy on me, but it definitely helped me learn at a much more accelerated rate, because he was such a smart individual already, that it was like, at times I was like, why the fuck do you even need me? Like, bro, you don't really need me because you're a fucking goat. But it's like, everybody needs a team. Everybody needs that person to
I would say
kinda,
it's got to, I mean, to your point though, it must have meant, you know, that he saw something in you to keep you around for all those times, because if not, like you said, I feel like AZ is definitely someone that's quick to like kick people to the curb if you don't, you know, show value, or if he doesn't believe that you're going to be a benefit to his team. So
he has a no dead weight policy. That's for sure.
But that's what it takes, though. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, those are the people who I feel like who blow up, that they don't put up with the bullshit, or like
they don't have time for games, and some people don't understand that. But
you gotta be like that. You know what I mean?
It's insane, bro. He's honestly probably the smartest artist in the game.
I was gonna say, I'm obviously someone who's biased because I don't get to see a lot, but like when I just hear some of the things that go on, it is like crazy to think about, because like I don't hear other people moving in that manner. And being so patient and so over analytical of every, you know, everything to the 10th degree. It's one of those things that I think definitely can add a bunch of like extra stress. But at the end of the day, one thing I think is like in any industry, the person who's giving it, you know, the extra attention to detail is going to be the person who has the best product at the end of the day, because they're not half-assing anything. But
the kid is a mogul. He's insane.
It's crazy because what both of y'all don't really know is I know AZ from when AZ's like 5 years old.
Damn.
Speak of the kid, he might be going over to your house right now, Q.
He
OTW.
He used to so my mom she used to own a skating rink back home, and we're all from like the same town, and there used to have like be like a skate park in the skating rink, and he would pull up. He was probably like 6, 7, 8 years old, pull up with a skateboard, shredding. You know what I'm saying? So just even from then till like, you know, just kind of following his journey, it was like it's crazy how everything transpires and works out, and all the dots align and whatnot. So let me ask you this question then. Over like the past 6 months, like from the time that like Roxanne just went ballistic, or maybe like leading up to that, what was like that, you know, like the last 6 months to like a year, how was that for you and like your team? Just kind of like everything that transpired, like What were some things you learned? What were, some of the moments that you remember that helped you guys, kind of pop that song off and whatnot?
I think some of the key moments of that year were kind of just honestly probably the quality of songs that he was starting. You could just tell that something switched for Arizona and Skirt, that they just completely locked in, and he was writing some of the best music of his life, and Skirt was producing some of the best shit of his life, and it was kind of just like a harmonious, perfect timing situation to
Yeah.
where we just knew, like, because we had, I think if I'm right, Roxanne was made in like the beginning of May of 2019, and as soon as they made that song, he put it away for like a month or two because he just knew that there was something special about that song,
Mhm.
and it was his and Skirt's intuition and things like that was really a key moment for, I think, all of us, because it was kind of just like everybody knew there was something special with that song, who was kind of closely involved in that group, and we knew that if we did everything correctly and actually put some type of strategy behind it, that was probably the one. And
Mhm.
I think having that thought process and kind of having that feeling is probably one of the most key things you could ever kind of endure in your life, especially when you're trying to go through this music industry shit, because everybody kind of fishes for that feeling. That's like a feeling that everybody in music looks for.
Was
Right.
that
And I
something that you had not felt before? Like this was completely
never,
different?
not me. I think I've never felt that before. I don't know 100% of Arizona's ever felt that before, but we all knew that there was something super special about that record, and that we just needed to take our time with it. It was like the first song that he honestly was like, all right, let's not release this like right now. It was something that he wanted to be strategic about, that he wanted to put actual, I mean, because he put everything into his music anyways, but he wanted to to go the extra mile with that song, and
Mhm.
it was really, that was the turning point. Was probably right after that song. He was just in a completely different mindset, which helped change our mindset,
Mhm.
and it was really surreal. It's hard to explain because it's a feeling, but
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know. It's like things just started to align, and we knew that at that point, um, there was something really special in front of all of us, and that we had to take our time with it. And that's why he took the time to reach out to the best mixers in the game and really like lock down and hone down on this sound that he built for this song, because he wanted to build off of it. And it's such a surreal moment. It was so key. You could just feel it when you were in the room with 94 and AZ, that they just had this feeling about this record and this intuition that was different than anything else that they've ever released, and that they were going to take their time with this record and actually invest like longevity marketing plans. And look where it got now. That kid is genius.
I
And
was gonna say, and this is actually something that I've been like kind of talking to other, if you will, up and coming artists that I have spoken to, and I literally tell them this exactly. Like a couple people I found, and I kind of want your 2 cents on this, as far as like where a up and coming artist should invest their money in, like into their brand, because obviously a lot of people would be like, oh, I want to, do this music video, or I want to do this and do that. And while I think it's beneficial, obviously, to invest in yourself in any capacity, I feel like when they're starting out, maybe they should potentially use that money toward different things, such as maybe like you talked about, like Spotify placements, or maybe like a TikTok campaign. Because I guess my thought process, and as a manager, I want you to chime in on it. Like, if you drop a music video, like that's dope. But if you don't really have like the audience or the community, I feel like it creates another step to then have to market the music video on top of it.
Yeah.
And so I guess I kind of wanted your thoughts on like the ways of marketing a song and someone who's like up and coming. Like, what is your best piece of advice, maybe like for someone right now?
Man, so really one of the things that one of the key things that I learned off of AZ was he always said, I got to get the music right. Like, fuck the image at this point, fuck the branding, like that will all come. I need to get the music right. The sound is most important to an artist, because that you build your brand and everything off of that sound. So
Facts.
it's like, if you do not get that sound, how are you going to build a career in an artist profile, you'd say? Like, how are you going to do that?
No, I
And
feel
that's
like
like,
it's like the foundation of a house. Like it's the
exactly,
starting block.
If yeah,
exactly.
no, I mean that makes key sense, because I mean you look at an artist like the Baby, same thing. Like he found his sound. I feel like, and
Yep.
that's when the Baby really started to pop off, when he found his sound, because he was making music, he was making records for a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was in and out of a record deal.
Mm-hmm.
He was in a
See, that's
record
stuff
deal,
that I
got
wasn't
dropped.
even aware of. I was not even sure
Yeah,
to any of it.
yeah. The Baby was in a record deal and then got dropped,
Mm-hmm.
and then he went back to the grind and developed his sound, and now he's one of the biggest artists on Interscope right now. So it's like, it's really just about getting that music right. If you look at all these people that we look up to, like the Baby, like Trippie Redd, I mean, I'm not a huge Trippie fan, but he does his thing where they got the music right first
Yep.
before they started throwing their image out and doing all these crazy music videos and doing these interviews. You got to get that music right. The sound, that's what people hear first, is your music. So it's like people are already developing an opinion while they're listening to your song.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like one of the things that I
What are
think
some,
I think Arizona definitely needs to get a tip to the hat for, because he really understands kind of like human psychology almost.
It is crazy you say that, because not I'll let you talk after this, Dylan, but one thing I've always heard him speak about to me is like there is legitimate like structures or BPMs or different things in the music that almost is like a science, and like the brain almost just like you like rock with it, or like it does attract you to it. So I feel like he definitely does somehow have like people's or human psychology
He does.
figured out to an extent.
He does, bro. He's just an all-around genius.
Like it's
And
bigger than
it's
the
like,
music to him, which is nuts.
yeah.
and as soon as he's ready to tell his story, there's going to be so many artists that benefit off of just kind of explaining his mindset and his thought process, because it's really something I don't think the music industry's ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Is how he thinks and how he moves. And it's just, I'll keep saying it, he's literally helped me learn like 1,000% more of this music industry. Like, I knew a good amount. I thought I knew a good amount, but when you get involved with someone like Arizona, and then you go that distance where the contracts get crazy and everything like that, you really, really learn from somebody like him. And I know that it's probably strange hearing a manager say that they learned off the artist that they work for, but he's just a special individual. And I was blessed that he let me be a part of it, and that I was even able to fucking be a fly on the wall for him too. Because like I was of course helping him in every way that I could with the contract, with even songs, with opinions on songs, with even running things by me for marketing, all of it. I mean, he would always run it by me, and I'd give him my opinion, and whether he valued it or not, I felt like it helped out, and we all learned off each other. It was just a very divine process, if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have something to ask, Dylan?
I mean, no, it was kind of just, going off of the point of like, you asked him like if you have kind of like any tips as far as like, up and coming artists, but like with the state of like social media now, right? Like there's always some new platform. There's always something, right? Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, I think is a really interesting tool now for artists. I've seen actually a few artists that they get their music on TikTok, and it it pops and then it translates into streams on, you know, Spotify and Apple Music, and then it starts to, you know, propel their Instagram account and all the other platforms that they're on. What is like, you know, your thoughts on that, and if you have, you know, any advice for any, you know, artists on, you know, social media game side of things?
So really, if you think of social media as advertisement platforms, I think you'll benefit the most off of it, because it's like the world is built off of advertisement. I mean, just look of how many different brands of bottled water we have. Like, you can't really tell the difference. It's all branded differently, and that's why you buy that water bottle. So it's like, it's how they advertise that water bottle. The world is built on advertisement. So it's like, if you advertise yourself in a strategic way, it's going to build. It's literally back to human psychology. If you advertise it enough and people keep seeing it enough, and you're doing the right things to put them out to the world, then you're more than likely going to find your success in some type of demeanor and in some level. And it's like, not everybody's goals are the same, but you will find your success if you really just find a way to get yourself out there regardless. Like, TikTok was just another advertising platform. It just made it more personalized for people to advertise music. And it's like, that's just fucking genius. Like, platforms like that are complete genius. And you just have to be able to kind of jump on the wave first and kind of just run with it. Cause it's like, all these new tools that keep coming up, they're just more strategy for people like me, Arizona, and other artists to just build off of. So it's like, we applaud any new platform that is going to help promote the product and the music in any way possible. Because it's like, the world's built on advertisement. If you don't advertise something, how the hell is anybody going to know about it?
I feel like one of the things that most people lack in today's day and age is like being resourceful. And I feel like it could either be because one, it's ignorance, or two, pride. I know some people who won't even post on TikTok just because they're like, oh, I'm not going to, you know, be the next TikToker, if you will.
Whatever.
But I feel like when some people, you know, sit back and they're like, oh, why aren't I getting here, or why aren't I getting there? It's like, take a step back and like, look, like, are you actually utilizing all the resources available to you right now?
Exactly.
And so, I personally think that definitely doing anything on there is a positive for your business, if you look at it in that manner.
If you're an artist right now and you don't have a TikTok profile, you're losing. It's literally, it's a free platform, like, to promote yourself. And
that's what I'm saying. You don't got to spend no ad spend or nothing. Like, it's
a no-brainer.
It's the most organic platform too. It's the most organic platform, hands down.
Yes.
So
this is all right. Now that we're on TikTok, this is something that like I can ask both of you guys. With all of these new things that come about, in a sense right now, like, TikTok is not regulated, if you will. Or maybe it is, and I'm not right on that.
I got some thoughts on that, but go ahead.
But I guess like my thoughts are, you know, right now I could, or maybe I'm wrong, because again, I don't use it like that. But when I think about it, I think of it as you literally just take a sound, you put it on this app, and you do your dance, or you do whatever you do to it. You create your video. Will there come a point in time where to have these sounds on the app and X, Y, and like there comes copyright or like a royalty rate? And then, not saying that TikTok dies out, but saying like then the next app comes. I guess I'm just asking, like, I've seen like Vine pop off, and now like Vine's not there. Yeah. Like, is it because at once like it was like, you know, completely unregulated, us as a consumer or even as the individual posting, we could do whatever we wanted, and then one day someone came in and was like, okay, no, now there's rules. Do you guys think there's any what's the word I'm looking for? Truth to that, like with TikTok, or like the future of TikTok?
Go ahead, Dylan.
For me, I think, and Q, I'm not sure if you're aware, but I helped run the TikTok account for the NBA. So we actually went through some issues to where like we couldn't use certain music because like the NBA has a deal with TikTok. Like, we have to produce so much content, and like we get paid out on that, right? Like on our end. So when we were using all these songs, the record labels were like, "You're getting paid off this shit." Fuck no, you can't do that. So now like TikTok introduced, there's like somehow I guess they came to agreements with like the record labels and whatnot, and like they're only allowed to use certain music, like on the platform, as far as like from the brand side. So like your NFL, your NBAs, like the brands that are kind of monetizing the content. So they're starting to figure out that way to where, there's some type of regulation to it, to your point, Matt. Now, when you think of like a Vine, right, I think of like Vine could, kind of be similar back in the day with like Napster, right? Like Napster disrupted the streaming and free music shit, right? So Vine was kind of that first one that was like, it disrupted the industry, the market, social media, And now if TikTok can capitalize on the fact of like, let's find a way to like regulate it, I think that the platform's here to stay. Personally, me. But
okay, to your point though, to piggyback, do you think once it becomes regulated, do you think it is as beneficial? I'm not saying that it loses all benefit, but do you think it's as beneficial as it is today, when like I could literally put any sound, or like me personally, obviously not the NBA, but like me personally, I could put any sound on it?
So if I feel like if TikTok doesn't, all right, so like, right, think of it like it's the most organic platform, right? So your content, you don't need to put any paid spin behind it. If it's good content, it's going to get views, it's going to get reach, right? Whereas like Instagram, like you gotta pay for that shit. You know what I mean? To a certain extent, if you like want to get your shit out there, like there's got to be some type of paid promotion. And I'm starting to see more artists do the paid promotions for the music on Instagram and Facebook, only because they're kind of like putting a kink in the water hose. You know what I mean? Like the algorithms are all on Instagram and Facebook. So I mean, if TikTok can capitalize on the fact that it's still the most organic platform, and people stay on the platform, I think so. Man.
Word.
What about you? What are your thoughts, Q?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think the monetization of TikTok is going to be a little difficult, but if they can just hold their identity, I think it's definitely here to stay, because it's a amazing platform, and
It's nutty.
And it's benefited so many people in so many ways that it would just be a complete shame if they would just start monetizing the hell out of that platform.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like the only people, well, depending, I guess my thoughts are more on like the copyrights for music and stuff like that. And so actually, the no-name artists are not really out here worried about, I need a royalty for every stream. So like to your guys' point, I feel like it still actually does serve as like the best platform for like a no-name artist to like get 1 million streams of a 15-second song, and then hopefully that does correlate into extra streams on other stuff. So I think you guys
look at that
just changed
song.
my mind.
Look at that song "Party Girl," bro. Like what is it, Stay Solid?
Yeah, no.
Is that, bro, like TikTok has ran that song all the way up.
It's crazy. I mean, to be real with you, I know some sounds and I don't even know the actual songs.
Yeah. Well, shit like that's incredible to me, because it's like it was so hard for artists like that to even get their song heard, and now there's 2 million videos being made to songs like that. And these artists that have different sounds and things that might not, I guess, entice Spotify and everything to place on platforms, because like Spotify is all about the politics and if it sounds right and things like that.
Yeah.
So the platform TikTok, they don't really care. They take a little snippet of the song, and if it makes people dance, it's out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's like, for artists like Stay Solid, that's fucking gold.
Facts.
It's golden. And it's like, if that gets taken away, I do think that this wave of like newer artists really dominating on the charts just month after month is gonna slow down for sure. Because it's like, the one cool thing that TikTok did was put non-mainstream artists into the mainstream light.
Yep.
And like, and I don't know about you, but I'm sick and tired of every time. I mean, like, we grew up with these artists, like, no shame to Justin Bieber and the Ariana Grandes of the world, but anytime you guys release a song, that's gonna go off, like,
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna get the
regardless.
Billboard #1 or
Yeah.
whatever the fuck
So
it
it's
is.
like, yeah. So it's like the fact that TikTok is there to even give those artists that have like 10K followers, but their song is going nuts on TikTok, it gives them a chance to be seen on a mainstream platform like Billboard, because TikTok is literally pushing these independent artists and these not so well-known artists into the Billboard.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really just eye-opening for the industry, because they're really missing out. TikTok's literally shitting on labels and literally showing them how much music they're missing. And it's
I
like,
mean, shoot, just like getting around you guys, to your point about missing out on music. It's one of those things. I remember like when I was in high school, I probably had like 3 or 4 artists that like I bumped. And then obviously
yeah,
I knew of like the other mainstream ones, but like to be like, oh, have you heard of so-and-so, like this underground artist from so, like wherever, like I didn't even really think that was like a thing. Like, to be real with you, like it was like you were either a Drake or like you didn't make music. Like there was no in between. You were either like the biggest artist in the world or you just didn't make music. And then slowly like just realizing how many artists out there, 2, how many amazing songs are actually like probably made on a daily that don't get heard by anyone is like, one, crazy, but also like baffling. It's like, damn, I want the world to hear like this crazy song, but I know myself can't market it to get there. Like it's just wild to see like people truly do have like amazing talents and amazing abilities, but really it goes back to, I think, to like a networking thing. Like really, if you don't have like the right people hearing it and shit like that, like you're going nowhere. And so, I guess TikTok eliminates the networking, because you don't need so-and-so to share it or whatever. If it's hot, it's hot.
Exactly. Because it's like Spotify is so saturated. There's like a ridiculous number. I can't remember the exact number, but every week they have a ridiculous number of submissions. And it's like, how do you expect an artist that has a crazy sound and is trying to be heard to even pop off whenever you have like 500,000 submissions almost every week?
How do you even as a company truly go through and give 500,000 submissions a true like, oh, this great, like this is good, this is bad, like eventually after you hear 40 million songs, you're gonna be like, shoot, like this one's good, like.
And
yeah,
that's
exactly. And that's what TikTok does. Yeah, exactly.
People decide if it's hot or if it's not.
Yep, exactly. And that's the special thing about TikTok, is that they give those artists who might not have gotten through the artist portal and Spotify that New Music Friday placement or Pop Rising or whatever playlisting that they're looking for. TikTok just comes through and is like, well, you don't got to worry about that, because we got your back. We're gonna get you heard, and we're gonna have a little snippet of your sound go on this, and we're gonna see if people react to it. And people making the videos is their reaction. And it's an organic reaction, because it's just, of course, a lot of these people use the same dance moves and kind of do the same things, but it's all personalized in its own way. That person felt those moves or those expressions in that time that they were doing the video, so it's personalized to them. And so that person.
What's crazy, this is where it gets really special, because like you can have like the person make the dance right to the song, but people can connect to it and make their own version of it, right? But what's really interesting is that they have the ability to go more viral than the original creator.
Yep. Exactly.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
That's a crazy point. They can literally go more viral than the original creator of the video. That is one of the coolest things that goes down in TikTok for sure. Right.
I got a question for you guys about TikTok. Like, this is just gonna be a TikTok talk for like the next 5 minutes. But what are your thoughts on, as an artist, owning the sound on TikTok versus letting maybe a crazy TikToker own the sound and do it? Because I didn't even know that was a thing, but talking to Arizona, he was saying how like he personally, I guess, could own the 15-second soundbite or whatever it is, or I guess he could have, like one of TikTok's biggest stars somehow own the sound. what are like the pros and cons of that, if you guys even know? Because I have no idea.
Honestly, that's a tough question, but could you ask that one more time? Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. I was talking to Arizona, and he was talking about owning the sound on TikTok and how, as an artist, you could own it, or you could, I guess, have, you know, one of the major TikTok stars like own the sound themselves. And so I was wondering like why someone would do one or the other, and like, you know, what are the pros and cons of that?
I think my opinion on that is if you're already an established artist, you should own your own sounds. But I think it would be strategic if you were an artist trying to be heard and you had like an Addison Rae or a Charlie D'Amelio, or however you say her last name, own that sound and then kind of promote it their way, because that you immediately are exposed to their 50 million followers. Yeah. So it's like that could be a strategic route for artists that aren't as established as others. But I feel like if you are an established artist, you should definitely own your sounds on TikTok.
Just a random question I had. Don't mean to keep you forever. I'm sure JB's back there like saying, Q, I need you back here right now. But I got like 3 more questions for you, and then like you can go, because I know we've been on here for a minute. Actually, yeah, I got a couple more. More or less like black and white questions, just to pick your brain. Like if you were going to sign, or I don't even know if it's really signed, or basically if you're going to manage someone else, what's like something that like you're going to be like looking for in like your next talent? Do you know whether that would be like an artist, a producer? Does it matter? Really, I guess like where's your head with that?
I think honestly, if someone is talented and I believe in them, that I would represent them and help them in any way that I could, whether that's a producer, artist, songwriter, whatever, mixer even. I would do the best that I can and the resources that I have to help them succeed. So it's, I guess, what all I would be looking for is just if they have that talent and that drive to strive to succeed and to grow. Because it's like that's one of the main like attributes that you want in somebody that you're going to work for, is you want them to understand that they're amazing and they're great, but there's room for growth, and there's room to perfect that craft. And that's really a valuable thing that I look for in people that I want to work for.
I don't even care if you have like the Billboard #1. To your point, like don't be satisfied, and understand that you could like learn and grow. Like for sure, nah. I feel like that's just like a personality trait I look for, and even like friends, because the know-it-alls and like I got this, like I don't know, maybe I'm too sensitive, but I can't stand it. Like
yeah.
Yeah, I can't either. I feel you.
All right, we asked about a piece of advice for an artist. What about someone who is thinking about going into the management like lane? Like what is one thing they should, what is one characteristic a manager needs to have?
You need to listen. I think listening and understanding is probably your #1 tool as a manager. Is you don't have the floor as a manager. You work for somebody you're not there's a lot of managers in this game that think they're the star. And it's like you're not. When it comes down to the bottom of it, you're not. And you have to, the one thing about a manager is you not only have to be smart businessly, you have to really be a people person.
That's why you excel in this like crazy, because you are literally the most people person pleaser, whatever you want to say, I've ever met. Like QG really is hands down the best guy.
You have to be, bro. You have to be a people person, and you have to now being a people person, you can't get taken advantage of, because a lot of people like to turn a people person into somebody that they can manipulate and take advantage of. But that's just where you as a person, you just have to have that solid core as a human, and just understand that as a manager, you can give, you can do anything you possibly can for that person. But if you're not completely synced with how that person is thinking and their vision, and even down to their emotions, like, you're not going to succeed as a manager. You need to not only be a businessman, but you need to be like a humanitarian. You know what I mean? You need to be able to deal with other people's frustrations and not get frustrated. And you kind of just have to be that rock, honestly, that is just like kind of just solid through it all, and always feels just kind of always have that sense that you have the plan, and you know what you're going to do next. And if you're in a corner, you know how to get out of it. You have to be that guy.
I was gonna say, yeah, you take all the praise, but all the blame at the same time when things go right or things go wrong.
Yeah. So it's like when things are going right, you're the guy, but when things are wrong,
it's something not a lot of people may know about. So maybe I'm spilling the beans, and if I am, I apologize. But in quarantine, I'm sure it has not helped you whatsoever. But when do you foresee like Caviar, like management, well, I mean, in a sense, I guess it probably has long since you are managing people. But when do you plan on trying to actually, turn that into a business venture as well, and like scale that to have other people like managing, I guess, underneath you? Or again, what are your plans for that? Shoot, I'm speaking for you.
Yeah, so basically, I actually just got it's not an LLC, it's an escort at this point, so it is a legal company. And yeah, so I have an assistant that I'm hiring probably in a month or two. Don't know who that person is yet, but I'm going to be adding them to the team. And then, yeah, once I need to build out, like I want to bring on some people, some day-to-day people that can actually be there for the people that I represent right now. And yeah, just build out the dream, man. So it's like, I want to be able to have a service for artists. You know what I mean? I want Caviar to be a service for these artists, that they get everything they need, from marketing to just kind of being that person at the board to take the plugs and put them into where they need to be. You know what I mean? What do they call them? Operator or something back then, where they took all the plugs.
The operator. Exactly.
Yeah. So really, I want Caviar to be that operator. You know what I mean? That everybody kind of like Electric Field. Like I look up to Electric Field super heavy. They've done amazing business over there. And like, they really build out their team to where they're unstoppable. They have producers, songwriters, artists, like everything. And that's kind of the vision that I see Caviar in like 10 years or so.
This is going to somewhat put you on the spot, but how do you feel Caviar would separate themselves from Electric Field?
So basically, I think the separation would probably, I mean, they're already such an upper echelon company that so like my slogan is Caviar, the finer taste in music. So we only taste the finest things in music, and we only bring on board what we think is like
almost like an
gold.
Exclusive like access, like
yeah. And I think really the thing that we'll, as a company, try to achieve to separate ourselves from others is really just the organicness and the probably resources that are so open. So like Electric Field's kind of closed, and they kind of like only work with their people. But I want like Caviar to be able to venture out and work with like the Justin Biebers of the world, the Selena Gomez's of the world, and like work with other artists. We not only have like our artist group that we work with like day in, day out, but we want to be able to kind of reach out into every aspect of music. And if there's a smash polka song that's going down, I want to be able to have a producer that could get on that track and produce some polka magic. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Shit, yo.
Well, that wraps up my questions. Dylan, I don't know if you got any more.
No, listen, man, I appreciate your time. I think we covered a lot. I think, we'll chop this up and make some dope content out of it. And let's definitely stay connected.
Let's say we got work to do.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a lot of crossovers that we could all capitalize on.
Yeah, my dog for sure. If we walk in, we want all the dough. Just let me know we want all the smoke. Watch out for them, he gon' call.